This is Devin Sheets with Alpha Sound, and it's the Salem World Beat Festival 2019. Now, last year we posted a video about a subwoofer trick that we use to get a lot of bass gain out of microphones that are miking instruments that either don't have a lot of output in that range, or especially when they're close to the subwoofers and you try to turn it up at all, they feed back. And so this trick allows you to get a lot of gain. You can use it for floor tom, cajon, percussion, guitar, vocals. We're using it for taiko drums. And a lot of people had a lot of questions about it, so this year I want to show you step by step how to set it up and how you can use it at your next gig. So I've got a 57 microphone here with no high pass filter or anything, going straight to the subwoofer aux as well. And I put this piece of paper in front of the subwoofer port so you can really see the effect of what happens when I turn it up without the processing and it feeds back, and when I turn it up with the processing, and you can see how much gain I can get out of it. So on my Yamaha CL5 digital console, I take an effect and I set it to the dual pitch setting. And I patch that through a mix that I'm not using, in this case mix 22, and I have it return into a channel that then I can turn up in the subwoofer aux later. I set the pitch to -12, which in musical terms is 1 octave, and then I set the fine-tuning amount to 0. Now in this case this is a stereo effect, so I set the level to 100% on one side and 0% to the other side, and I also take the side I'm using and pan it to center. And then I take the delay and the feedback amount and I put them at 0. Now the mode amount I set to 3. I've noticed that the lower mode amounts have less latency but less definition, and the higher mode amounts have more definition, but they add a lot of latency, and we don't want that with this effect. And the next important step is to apply a low-pass filter to the effect return channel and set it to 60 Hz. I've even added some additional low frequency here for effect and an additional EQ band to deepen the slope. So first, let's take a look at how much gain we can get out of that microphone in the subwoofer aux without any processing. Obviously not very much before it starts to feed back. So let's turn it up in our bass effect send and let's see how much we can get now. So let's talk about why this works. There's some math involved. Most subwoofers go down to about 30 Hz. Frequencies below that don't get reproduced, and so we don't hear them. Feedback is when a frequency gets picked up by the microphone and amplified through a speaker, and then picked up again by the same microphone and re-amplified through the same speaker, and this happens over and over again until the feedback gets louder and louder. So with this processing trick, the important concept is that we are technically allowing certain frequencies to feed back, but only one time through the system. So a frequency of 80 Hz gets picked up by the microphone. It goes through the processing and gets pitched down to 40 Hz and pumped through the subwoofers. And of course, gets picked up again by the microphone, but pitched down again to 20 Hz. And at that point, it's lower than what the subwoofers will reproduce, and so we don't have to worry about further feedback. Now, the reason why we need a low-pass EQ filter at 60 Hz on the return channel is because frequencies above 120 Hz in the original mic signal that get pitched down an octave will still be in the subwoofer frequency range when they get pitched down again after the feedback. If too much of this starts happening, it'll sound weird, like an infinite staircase effect for sound. Now, you can also achieve a similar result by putting a low-pass filter at 120 Hz on the input mix send to the effect unit. It doesn't really matter. Just remember, though, that any high-pass filters you put on the mic input channel itself can't be higher than 60 Hz unless your console has the ability to send to effects pre-EQ. So the operational input range for the effect is essentially 60 to 120 Hz, and the output range is 30 to 60 Hz. So most unpitched percussive instruments have harmonics in the 60 to 120 Hz range that are musically as valid as whatever's happening in the octave below that. So we're essentially replacing the fundamental tones of these instruments with their down-pitched harmonics. In some rare cases, this can also be used on pitched instruments, but it's a lot trickier to get right, and usually requires some foreknowledge and collaboration on the part of the musician, which at that point usually results in a more direct solution to the problem of gain anyway. This trick is particularly useful in less than ideal situations where you may not have the time or ability to work out a more direct solution. You can just throw the thin or problematic channels into that effect send and instantly have a lot of usable and impressive low-frequency gain. So if you think this little trick is super awesome and want to see more from us, please like and follow us on social media and share this video with like 100 people. Happy mixing.